welcome back. I'm Jeff Harrison along with
Reverend Rebecca.
And you are here at Spirituality Uncorked. And if you haven't joined us before, go back and check us out. It's here on YouTube and you can follow along. And the whole idea of this, Reverend Rebecca, is, you know, it's kind of that midweek facelift, if you will. It's kind of a tune-up because, let's face it, we're bombarded by things every day, and it's always kind of nice to have something come in or someone like yourself come in and say, hey, let's get me back on track. Remember, there's more to it than CNN or Fox News that we have to deal with. And so I'm really, really happy to be here, and I'm so happy about today's topic. Tell us about what we're going to talk about today.
Well, today we're going to talk about all those changes that have been going on in your life since we started these YouTubes. All those changes brought about by spiritual mind treatment. We have had several conversations up until this point about how to do spiritual mind treatment, and now we're going to talk about what changes you're seeing and what's happening. And you know, change comes about when we're ready to move forward, when we're ready to expand. We're finding that in our center. We're having changes here. I know that many of us are experiencing change in our job, in our finances, in our homes. All kinds of change happen in our life. Sometimes people even see change in their health. So today we'd like to give you a tool to guide you through those changes. Now, the past several weeks we've talked about spiritual mind treatment and how that is attuning you to the divine, allowing you to remember who you are and how to really bring forward those manifestations, those changes in your life that you want. Because you're changing subconsciously, Jeff, or consciously. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather do it consciously.
Well, isn't subconsciously almost like trying to drive the car from the back seat?
Yes, that's a great example.
You'd rather be in the front seat behind the wheel, right?
I like it better when I have a little more control.
Well, let's talk about that. And as you discuss this, I want to ask you a question before we get into the nuts and bolts of it today. Is, do you think people, because we tend to give up before we actually achieve it, and I'm going to use the example of like a New Year's resolution.
Yes.
You know, statistically it says like 88% of us by the second week of or the 21st or 22nd of January have given up on that New Year's resolution that we did earlier. And I'm just going to ask you, and it's just your best guess at this, is it because we're not seeing our outcome fast enough? And it's like, hey, I want to lose X number of pounds, or I wanted to get this muscle, or to have a job change, and it didn't happen by the third week of January. Said, this doesn't work. Is that it? Part of it because we're asking for a lot, but we're expecting it to grow in a little bit of time?
No, not for me.
But I mean, in general.
Do you know what the truth for me is? You didn't believe you could have it when you started out.
Okay, good.
Okay, so when we start a spiritual mind treatment, we start from truth. Whatever your truth is. For me, my truth is there's one source of good in the universe, and that source is God. So if I come from my place of truth, as I begin this work, then I'm in a different place. I'm not from the human part that's begging and pleading and saying I gotta have, because you don't get from that vibration. And usually when we begin a New Year's resolution, we're in the point of desperation. We're in the plane of hope. I'm talking about the place of truth.
Okay.
And when you start from truth, you're starting from a higher place. You are aligned to who you are. Your truth is spirit, however you see it, okay? And when you come from spirit, you get what you want, because there is no for God. God doesn't worry about money. God doesn't worry about what he's going to eat. God doesn't worry about any of that. Everything is possible. So when we start from that place, it doesn't matter how big or small. It means that we can have the changes we believe we can have. And that's the key. We have to believe it.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. I was actually going to dive right in. You just kind of like picked that right out of my brain. is you know, the truth,
yes.
Right? But that's based on our beliefs. So if I, like as an example, God is, I am. Everything we see is from the universe. It was created by a power higher than me.
Yes.
But what if a person's belief isn't in line with that? Do we see that that's almost like that's a broken link to the chain that may cause a manifestation or change in their life not to happen. So we have to go back to believe. Do I believe that everything?
We have to go to whatever we believe.
Okay.
There's no
good.
right, there's no wrong. Science of mind
So you're
honors
saying
all religions,
so we can start
all
there.
beliefs.
Okay.
Whatever you
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
So if you believe that the sun shines every day, and you can go to that place and say, okay, I know that to be a truth for me. And I'm totally aligned in that place, okay? That is absolutely true for me. We don't have to limit ourselves to what the truth is. We just have to find a truth. And when we find our truth, we begin to align. All that chaos that was leading us away from that dissolves.
Okay,
and
so
we sit differently. We
can I
feel
get
differently.
so I get some clarity on that? Because again, I'm just a guy in the streets, right?
Yes.
I'm asking this so that like you're so far ahead
I'm so sorry.
of myself. That's okay, of myself and other people out there. So what you're saying is, hey, I don't have to have the same beliefs that you have,
No.
the same convictions. You're just saying, if we can find a truth, and you
Yes.
I love that. We know that the sun is going to come up in the east and set in the west. And if it doesn't, we're all in trouble. It makes no difference anyway, right?
Really big trouble.
But that's a truth, right?
Yes.
It's like gravity. If I drop something heavier than oxygen, it will do what? It will fall.
And it
so
has
could we believe?
always been true, hasn't
Yes.
it?
So,
Always.
okay, gotcha. Okay, and now I get that. So we just have to have a truth
A
that
truth.
is, we can't dispute.
Right.
Gotcha.
And what
Okay,
you're
cool,
doing
cool.
in that moment is you're aligning to truth.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Whatever the truth is, you are now one with truth.
Cool. Thank you for clarifying. That makes so much more sense for me. Like I don't have to believe all of it. I just have to have a truth.
A truth.
Good.
And can you feel the difference when you find a truth?
Yeah.
It's like everything opens up and you go, so there we are.
I love it. So everything starts with God and
For me, it's
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
It's all good. And what am I looking for? I'm always looking for more good in all areas of my life. So when I start with the truth that there's one source of good, and that's what I'm looking for more good, okay? So I know that whatever my truth is, that I'm one with it, because it's my belief. I believe it. I believe the sun comes up and sets in a particular way every single day forever, okay? I believe it. I'm one with that. So we've got our truth and we're one with it. And now we're in a place where we can be heard, where we can bring forth the change that we want, that I want in whatever area of my life. It doesn't matter how big or how small. It means that I can ask for this and I can know it from a very different place than I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm desperate, and now I need this, this, this. Those can't come true because they're not from a place of allowing and receiving. But when we start in truth and we start with something we know, we're open to receive.
that's great.
We're open to allow this, whatever it is, to come in, whether it's the change in our health or the change in our finances. We are talking about change for us. Now, we can't go into spiritual mind treatment and say, I want to change my husband or I want to change my sister, okay? And work like that. We're talking about you and your truth. So if it's true for you, then it works for you. Now, you can ask for the highest and best good for someone else, whatever it is.
Okay.
Okay, but you're not putting it in a little box and saying it has to come in a red sweater and it has to arrive on Thursday. You're just saying, I want the highest and best good for that person.
Okay.
And what is that again? It's good. So it comes in. Okay? We can pray for others and ask for their highest and best good. But we can't say, listen, I really don't like that behavior, so I want it to stop. It doesn't work like that. This is a planet of free will. So we all get to decide and choose.
Gotcha.
But when we're in our truth, knowing what we know, aligned, because it's our belief, we can guide change in our life by spiritual mind treatment.
So if I, Reverend Rebecca, if I thought, if my truth were everything that occurs in my life is for my highest and best good, is that just as aligned as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west?
If you truly believe it.
Yeah, so if I really believe it and it's my truth, then no matter what happens, like today when we were doing this, we're setting the cameras up and the sound wasn't working. We said, and maybe I should have kept saying it. Hey, all this is happening for a reason, and it's all for my highest and best good, right?
It is, and let me tell you why I believe that.
Okay.
Okay, we're here to learn. Okay? So everything that happened, we learned from. We learned to be patient, we learned to be calm, we learned it was going to work itself out, but we learned. Yeah. And our job is not the how. Okay? The universe comes in with the how. We ask and we receive, but the how isn't our work. Okay? And that's why I say don't ask for it to have a red sweater on, okay? Because that isn't our work.
Okay.
Our work is to allow what is brought to us and to accept it, okay? Because there is learning. And this is a planet of learning. And when we're done learning, we're not on this planet anymore.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this question. So let's say someone they're aligned with their truth,
Yes.
and now they've asked to have a change in their employment.
Okay?
If we already knew the answer before we found that alignment, we're asking for help from the higher power and are asking for that from our higher power. Sometimes does that come from unusual places? Like we weren't expecting it to come from there, and so we resist it?
Absolutely. And you know what the greatest thing is?
What's that?
We operate too small.
Ooh.
We don't think that we're worthy. We don't think I can have that. I know that guy can have that, but I really can't have that. Okay? But the truth of the matter is, big or small, it's all the same. The divine doesn't care. The divine feels what you're putting out every single minute, and that's what it brings you.
Gotcha. So that's that whole frequency thing.
It's that whole frequency thing.
Okay.
And you know, we might be saying, I want a yellow banana, but really, we wanted a green banana, and we're not saying that because, you know, people don't really like green bananas. Yeah, you really don't eat green bananas. You gotta wait till they're yellow. So when you're putting out something different than you're saying, there gets to be a controversy over what you're getting. And sometimes you think, I didn't ask for this. But you really did. You really did ask.
So what's showing up is really a
It's
reflection
showing
of our
up
truth.
as your truth.
Oh, that's beautiful.
As your truth.
Now that's for some people, sometimes that's hard to swallow. Like, hey, that's really not what I want in my life. But you're saying on that subconscious level, I'm in that back seat again.
Yep.
That drove me to get that response. Oh. Okay,
And,
so how
and
do
in
we...
that case, it's good because that banana does get yellow eventually.
If I leave it in that bag...
Leave it in there, it'll show up, okay?
So we've aligned with our truth.
Yes.
And now what's the next step? Because you said we're going to do this...
We're going to declare what we want.
No, wait a second, that feels... We declare. That's like...
We declare, and if we don't declare, then we get the green banana when what we really wanted was the yellow banana.
And we have to just put up with it.
We have to say, this is what I want. And you have to know that either your frequency wasn't right if you don't get it, or it wasn't really what you wanted.
How do we, and again, now for me, I'm asking for a friend, okay, is when you said we play too small, so sometimes we ask for, you know, let's use the example. I just want to have, and again, this is Teflon. This is just a conversation here. They're looking for a job that will just cover their monthly bills.
And that's exactly
and that's what they get, right? And then what happens is they get in a job and they realize that really wasn't what I wanted, but you're saying that's really what you asked for.
It is. And you know, for most people, instead of saying, wow, I brought this about. I brought this job. Look at me. Look at how I manifest. They go to the negative place and say, oh man, I can only pay my bills. I did this all wrong. Why did I do it this way? And if they would look at it and say, okay, so I brought about a job that I can pay my bills because that's what I asked for. I can bring about a bigger job, a better job. Let me try that.
So there was some manifesting going on.
There was manifesting going on.
Okay.
And instead of seeing as glass half empty, we see it as glass half full. We're still benefiting. We're learning. Our lesson has been there, and we've decided it was good. And when we're still in our good, then the next piece can come in. We can then say, oh, now, okay, so I see I brought this job about, and I thought I needed enough money to pay my bills, but now I want enough money to pay my bills, to give some away as gifts. I want to have enough money that I can put it in my savings account. I want to have enough money that I can take a trip. And then let those pieces come in, because you're still in a good place. You're not saying, I did it wrong. I did it wrong. You're saying, wow, I did a good job. Let me add on to it. Let me get some more right here where I'm at.
So it's okay to adjust as you go along.
It is, and to always be grateful that you were able to bring this in.
Gotcha.
Look at me, I did a good job. I did a good job.
Is there ever a point, Reverend Rebecca, where we're not manifesting?
If you don't believe you can have what you're asking for.
But if I believe that, let's say if the person believes they can't have what they're asking for, isn't that still manifesting?
Well, yes, it is. Yes, it is. But it doesn't.
I mean,
it doesn't show up in a way that we're willing to agree we've brought about.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I always tell people, make it really easy. Gee, I think today I'd like it to be sunny. Chances are pretty good it's going to be sunny.
Yeah.
And you can say to yourself, look at that. I knew this morning was going to be sunny. That's what I wanted. Start small and look for things that you can say, this was good.
Okay.
This was good. I did this. I always keep a list going. An easy one that's really short term and a longer one. And then I look at that every few days and I say, oh, got this, got this, got this. Oh, and I'm partway over here. And that builds the muscle for us in our belief. Look at me. It's not just coming to me things I don't want. I can see the things I do want coming to me. And I'm affecting the change in my life because I'm asking for these things. I'm not resisting them. I'm just allowing them to flow right to me. And when they come, I say, oh, this is great. This is awesome. But you know what? To go with this, I'd like to have this.
You want to supersize it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep building.
Cool.
And then we're in a point where all is well. Things are always working out for us because I asked for these things and look at them. Here they are.
I like that.
And at that point, it's time to be thankful. To be thankful for who and what you are and the work you've done and how you made this the best it could be. Okay?
How important is that stage of gratitude? Because, and the reason I ask that is sometimes, as again, we may set the intention, and didn't quite show up in the way we wanted to, so we're disappointed and we're not grateful for what did arrive. What role does gratitude play in this process?
Gratitude keeps you in the frequency you need to keep receiving.
Okay.
It prevents you from sliding down in your frequency. And that's what the universe hears.
Okay.
It hears, oh, they're not happy. They're not happy, and this is the strongest vibration, so what are we going to do? We're going to give them some more of not happy because that's what they're pumping out.
Love it. So we align with our truth. We make a declaration. What's next?
Thanksgiving.
So we're just talking about.
We're talking about Thanksgiving.
How do you set that up? I mean, in the
For
process
me-
of a treatment.
For me, I simply say, I'm thankful that I know how to do this.
Okay.
I'm thankful that I believe that this can really come into my life. I'm thankful that the universe thinks bigger than I do. And I know it's going to be this or something better.
Oh, I like
something better. Okay? And I know that I'm going to produce this. And it may not be exactly like I think it's going to look, but I know that I'm going to like it. And I'm going to be grateful. And I know that I'm going to be able to build from it. And I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to control this, to see this, to allow this. And I am thankful that I am in a place where I can receive it.
I love it. Now, is that the final step?
Then we release it to the universe. So do you know what that means, Jeff? That means we surrender. We've done our work. We've really done it from our heart, from our belief, from who we are. People talk about affirmations and they say, well, they stand in front of a mirror and they say, I'm a dill pickle, I'm a dill pickle, I'm a dill pickle. Well, it's not your truth. You don't believe it, okay? It's not who you are.
Right.
And you can say it 100 million times, but if you don't believe it and it's not your truth, it's not going to come in, okay? So we're doing this totally different. And we're allowing ourselves to be one with it, to believe it, to say what we want, and to simply be thankful and say, okay, universe, I'm surrendering this to something bigger, and I know it's coming.
So when you say surrender, I mean, a lot of times we think surrender is like I've given up. But
No.
you're not saying that. It's a different definition of surrender. You mind sharing that a little bit?
I'm giving it to a higher power.
Okay.
Because I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know when it's going to come. But I know that when it comes, it's going to be perfect for me. It's going to be exactly what I want, and I'm going to be grateful for it. And if I want to tweak it, I can.
Okay.
I can. And for me, it takes all the pressure off of me. It's like a permission slip. She can have it. She can have it. Because somebody bigger than me. There is a power greater for me in the universe. And I am using it.
Yeah.
And so that's who I surrender it to. And for me, I'm grateful to surrender it. It takes everything off of me, the pressure, the need. Am I doing it right?
Yeah.
You just surrender it and know it is done. It is done.
I think that's a powerful statement. Know that it is done. And to me, that's really the definition of faith is walking in your truth even when you don't physically see it, right? And I'm not worried, you're saying don't worry about the how.
Nope.
Just go about your business.
Yep.
Be open and receptive, because probably if we already knew how to do it, we would have already figured it out, right?
Yep.
So it may come from places we didn't expect. We get a call from Aunt Harry, who we haven't, or excuse me, not Aunt Harry, Aunt Harriet, who we haven't spoken to in 10 years, and all of a sudden that was that connection that the universe is starting to line up. Is that correct?
Yes.
So be open and receptive to that.
Yes.
Maybe answer that call. You're going,
Yes.
well, maybe I should answer it.
There again, see, ours isn't the how.
True.
Ours isn't
We
the
just-
how.
but
we
we
just
just-
allow and receive.
Got you. But
We
if we
just-
resist that, we don't answer that phone call, or we
and
don't,
and
or if you
we
call me and
push on
say,
it and say, hey, it's got to look like this. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not taking that call from Aunt Harriet because I didn't ask Aunt Harriet to be involved in this.
Gotcha.
You're pushing against it, and then it can't come in.
Gotcha.
You got to have that feeling of, okay, I allow and I'm going to receive this because I turned it over to a higher power, and it's going to come to me.
This feels like it really takes the pressure off of
It
a
does.
person, because there's that whole thing going around in the world right now today is making this is like, for everything you want, you have to work until your eyes bleed. You have to just work hard, and this doesn't sound like that's really in line with that. To me, I hear that, and hey, I've done that a lot in my life, bloody eyes and the whole thing, and yet when it seems like I'm not, I'll call it when I'm in the zone, things come easier and I'm not working as hard. Is that really where we want to be, is in that point where, hey, we're
Absolutely.
just loving what we're doing and things are happening and we're accepting that? Is that
Doesn't
frequency,
matter.
the zone?
Yes, it doesn't matter if you're watching TV, you're running on the road, if you're riding a bike, if you're meditating, if you're reading a book, if you are aligned and quiet and happy and joyful. We all know that time is different. And it's in those moments our best can come to us.
Gotcha.
Because we are one with the divine. We're aligned to our own description of divinity, whatever it is for you. There is no right or wrong. But in those moments, we feel different. We allow different. We don't argue about what we want, why we want it. We just sit back and take a deep breath and enjoy it. And that's how life was meant to be. But we've decided you have to work hard and it has to be hard. And so we're relearning. That is the case.
Yeah. It almost feels like instead of relearning, we're unlearning.
Unlearning.
Yeah, we're kind of unbecoming, right? So, well, Reverend Rebecca, first of all, this has been fantastic.
Good.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And, if you have questions or comments, just please put them down below and we'll reach out and we'll answer those questions. I just feel so lucky to be here and talk about these kind of things. It's almost like I get to go to a little master class and learn more about this, because we're all in a state of learning, right?
We are.
And so, Reverend Rebecca, before we wrap up today, any last thoughts? You said, hey, I want to put this last little bow on there. Or are you saying, hey, no, they've got what they need?
You got what you need. The power is within you. You can't do it wrong because it's who you are. Just remember that. It's who you are. You are creating the change in your life the way you want it when you sit down and make it your belief and your truth.
I love it. Reverend Rebecca, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for joining us again. Remember, you can join us here on the corner of Portola and Shadow Mountain every Sunday And if you're watching this week on the 16th, we start 2 services again, one at 9.
And one at 11.
One at 11. We've been doing one service all summer long, and now everyone is back, and we just, we're overflowing, and we'd love to have you here. And if you can't physically be here on Sundays, you can join us on the live stream. Just go to our YouTube channel, Center for Spiritual Living, or on YouTube. You can catch us there. We stream both the 9 and the 11. We'd love to have you there. Please invite a friend to watch this if you felt like this was valuable, and there may be somebody out there besides yourself who can gain value for this. Please share Reverend Rebecca with them, and we'd love for you to join us. Reverend Rebecca, again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for joining us. My name is Jeff Harrison.
And I'm Reverend Rebecca.
We'll see you again next time on
Spirituality Uncorked.